Where are you going to find Brawlin News at? Right here. This is Brawlin News number 93. And coming right up, we've got stories on folks who are leaving the WWE, 2 of them. Folks who are coming back to the WWE, 2 of them. We're also going to tell you where the WWE Network is going to be at, because even they don't know, but we're going to talk about where it's going to wind up at. Also, we've got stories from the MMA world about Bellator, about Showtime, about Fuel TV, about Fox, about the Allstate Arena. We're even going to talk about Comcast and Roaches. All that and more coming right up.
Not one story.
Wisdom is in the blood, on the floor. Brawlin 93, late for lunacy.
Fight! 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 Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video house. It's time for
Fight News.
Fight News!
Brawlin.
Fight News number 93, and we're coming to you from this place, Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount
Brawlin,
Greenwood.
capital
Alternate
of
Reality,
Greenwood.
where all new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. This is our Fight News, our Brawlin News, and Brawlin News has got MMA. Brawlin News has got WWE. There's no regular wrestling stuff in this.
No, there's regular wrestling.
Regular wrestling stuff. It's wrestling and fight, and our first story up involves people who have left the WWE.
Bye-bye.
They're gone. They're finished. They're out of here. They're no longer associated with the company. First name up is
John Morrison.
Bye, John.
John Morrison started this week's Raw being beaten up by The Miz as part of Miz's campaign of getting rid of people. That was Morrison's actual last appearance for the WWE. Morrison's contract actually ended in September, but they kept advertising him all the way up to this Raw that was just on.
Yeah.
And so Morrison said, okay, since you've got me advertised, I'll show up at all these events. He actually left the WWE. The WWE didn't fire him. He voluntarily left.
Why do you want to leave so bad? Just because they weren't using him for anything?
He said that
he wasn't happy with the angles?
He didn't have a consistent push. They would push him, then they wouldn't push him. They'd push him in a losing streak, and then he would come back and he would win, and the fans would cheer for him, and then the fans got to the point where they were like, he's going to leave anyway. Now, there are rumors that he'll be popping up in TNA with his ex-girlfriend, Melina, because they broke up. Yeah. And that's part of the reason that he left the WWE is because he was hit by the fact that he was Melina's boyfriend, and Melina was a pain in the butt. And so people just sort of grafted her anti-belief system onto him, who was an innocent bystander.
Anti-belief system?
Well, that and the fact that they had an open relationship, which people in the WWE didn't exactly figure out and didn't exactly understand. But Morrison's off. He's going to go off and probably do some acting stuff. He has the door open to come back. He may go to TNA. He said he and Melina may go in as a couple. But then again, he may at some point decide to go back to the WWE. And I would imagine probably sometime about 3 to 6 months from now, they'll be calling him to come back because they need guys that people pay attention to. And someone is going to understand. You've got guys that the audience likes and really cares for, and you're screwing them up by booking them poorly, like Zack Ryder. Okay. Fans love Zack Ryder, but you book him to lose matches. That's not what they want to see. They want to see him winning matches. They've told you we like this guy. They've told them they like Morrison. Well, they don't do anything with it.
Talk to Triple H.
Well, that's the other thing. Triple H, Triple H's in-ring, back-to-the-ring wrestling thing with Vengeance and CM Punk, one of the lowest buy rates of a pay-per-view in WWE history. Really? People have gotten to the point where they don't really give a crap whether he wrestles anymore.
So, stay backstage.
Right, stay backstage.
We were just talking about Melina jumping ship to TNA. There's another diva over at the WWE who has also jumped ship to TNA just recently, and that is, of course,
Gail Kim.
Gail Kim. Bye, Gail. Bye.
Gail Kim, she came to the WWE because she had some financial issues. She was there. She said that they didn't really have a consistent idea what to do with the divas. They didn't know what they could do. They would tell them not to do stuff this week. They'd tell them not to do stuff the next week. Then they'd tell them to do stuff. She said she didn't have time in her life to go through all that stupidity, so she went back to TNA. And I don't cry for her financially because her boyfriend is, if you ever watched Restaurant Impossible, the Chef Irvine, that's her fiance.
Restaurant Impossible.
So, she's not exactly going to be poor for a while.
Cooking in 0 grams.
And she's enjoying herself in TNA.
You could do it if you wanted.
Now, 2 people that the WWE loves who are getting a push are, of course, The Undertaker and
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho.
There are, if you watch WWE programming, you see the fact that they're over pushing the hell out of Twitter, which is getting to the point where people, wrestlers, are getting annoyed with it. There's a certain point where that little Twitter thing turns into something called Second. And if you go on YouTube and you look up Second, there's a little teasers about someone coming back on January the 2nd.
Yeah. Now, which of those 2 is coming back?
Well, so apparently, from what people are saying, that was supposed to be for Chris Jericho, but then Jericho and the WWE had an issue because he's not included in the WWE 12 video game, which is selling like crazy, and he kind of got ticked off about that.
Why wasn't he in there?
That's what they had an issue about. He goes, "Why wouldn't I be in that? Because being in that gives me a whole bunch of money."
Yeah.
But the other rumor is that it's probably more than likely is going to be the return of the Undertaker, who actually the last time he disappeared, they did this promo thing where he was walking into a house and it was raining. And if you look at the commercial, it's like a little kid sitting at a table talking about somebody coming back to wreak heavenly vengeance. And so you sort of,
Well, who else would that be?
yeah,
It would be Chris
You sort
Jericho.
of figure, or saying everything would be the same. So you sort of assume it's
And
taken.
the Undertaker's not beyond wrestling.
The Undertaker is at the point where he actually, when he went out, he had another hip operation. He had another shoulder operation. He at one point shaved his head completely bald. His hair's grown back. He's been popping up at the WWE offices, and his wife, Michelle McCool, she's also coming back.
Well, Taker's down to one match a year, and that's WrestleMania.
Right. I mean, right. So, I mean, yeah,
He's only good for one match a year, and that's WrestleMania. And after he does WrestleMania, he's got to go back on the shelf for a year for the next
for a while. So
But he beats everybody at WrestleMania.
yeah, and the natural assumption is this will actually, this finally be his last WrestleMania. We assume because we never really know.
Any idea where he's going to place that on the card?
I'm assuming he's the main event.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, he's
Who
the
go up
co-main
against?
event. The main event is John Cena versus The Rock, so he'd be
Yeah.
the co-main event.
Any idea who's going to go up against him?
There've been one rumor. At one point, there was a rumor that it was going to be, of all people, Mark Henry, but they don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think Undertaker wants to go out on Mark Henry.
Well, yeah, so it'll be someone.
Yes, the end of my long, long career will be with Mark Henry. I don't think so.
I don't think so. It'll be someone else.
Also at the WWE has been pushing the WWE Network for some time now. It's coming. It's coming. If you've been watching Raw, if you've been watching SmackDown, you know that it's coming because they keep pushing it. When's it coming?
Well, even though
where's it coming?
Even though no one's actually agreed to carry the son of a gun.
Yeah.
It's
where and when?
They're supposed to have the WWE Network up and completely running before WrestleMania.
Okay, well, that's 3 or 4 months from now.
So they got to find
Clock is
someone
ticking.
willing to carry it.
Yeah.
And they've also got to do a bunch of other things, such as hire announcers. Now, they did a survey. They sent out a survey for about, if you look at the website, he should have posted up a story. There's about 17 shows that the WWE Network wants to run. One of them was like traveling with Stone Cold Steve Austin to try out beer. One of them was Mick Foley going to amusement parks. One of them was going.
Well, who's going to watch this crap? Mick Foley at amusement. I mean, I love Mick Foley, but who's going to watch a show about Mick Foley at an amusement park? Is Mick going to fall off on a roller coaster or something? You're going to watch him fall 3 stories?
Does he throw somebody off?
The show is Mick Foley looking for the ultimate roller coaster ride. There's also a show called Divas on Wheels, which would take 4 WWE divas or 5 WWE. And they put them in a tour bus, and they would go from place to place, and they would
solving crimes,
solving
having
crimes,
adventures and stuff,
having romantic problems, and guys hooking up. So but
syncing up their periods.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Sounds fascinating. Just fascinating.
But yeah.
I hope there's room on my TiVo.
So I mean, here it is. This is December. January's coming up.
Well, these do not sound like shows that take an awful lot of work to put together.
Those are all like.
These sound like shows that you started the first of the month and you're done with them at the end of the month.
And the main part of the W Network is going to be all the old video footage.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff's digitized. They've got everything.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
It'll be kind of like the NFL Network. That's the plan.
Something that's not having trouble finding a home is the MMA on Showtime, who wants desperately to keep the MMA on Showtime.
Yeah, they were running Strikeforce, and there was a rumor that they were going to stop running Strikeforce because Dana White and Showtime didn't really get along because the guy running their sports division was, according to Dana White, an absolute effing. You know what?
Effing D-hole.
Right. So that guy, Kid Hirschman, he's no longer in charge of sports.
Okay.
And they had a meeting, and the Showtime people said we really want to be in the MMA business. And so Dana White says, okay, I was being hands off because the other idiot was still here. Since he's gone, we'll talk it out. So Strikeforce will still continue to exist, and they'll make some kind of arrangement probably by the end of the year.
So the Strikeforce and Showtime relationship is still sound.
It's still solid.
Does Showtime still do boxing?
Showtime still does boxing as well, but basically most people watch HBO for boxing because HBO's got the more well-known fighters.
Another solid relationship in the world of MMA is with Bellator and Viacom.
Viacom, the people who own Spike TV, the people who let's see, what's today? What's today? The 4th?
Today's the 3rd.
The 3rd? Okay. And
3rd of December.
In about 20-something days, they'll be losing all rights to any brand new UFC footage. They need something else, although they do have a contract. They can run any footage they want for a year of any UFC stuff they already own, which to me is just stupid. But Bellator, they're hooking up. Bellator was on MTV too, which hardly anybody watches. And but it'll be popping up on Spike TV, and it'll be pushed really hard on Spike TV starting in January.
Yeah.
There'll also be a hookup between that and TNA because they're going to do a lot of cross promotion, which Dana White said he had no interest in doing.
Okay. Super Bowl weekend. You're watching a football game, but you might also be watching a great big fight between GSP and Nick Diaz.
Yes, Nick Diaz. GSP was supposed to be fighting Carlos Condit that weekend because Condit won his last fight. But when Nick Diaz won his fight against BJ Penn, Nick, being Nick, talks so much crap that GSP called Dana White and says, "I want that son of a bitch."
Who? Who?
That guy right there.
Who? Oh.
And so
okay,
that's the weekend. Now Condit's gonna fight Josh Koscheck on the same card because Condit. When they first announced it, they said that Condit decided he didn't want to fight and he gave the fight up. And then Condit's manager went, "We didn't say that. Why would we not want to do that? That's the main event." So they said, "We'll find someone who fights." So he's going to fight Josh Koscheck. So that'll be the co-main event in the big pre-Super Bowl big deal show in Vegas.
Bo,
Yes.
what is Fuel TV?
You have Fuel TV on your...
I do?
I think you do.
DirecTV has it?
I think DirecTV
I have
has
DirecTV.
Yes, I have Comcast. I don't have it. But Fuel TV is actually part of the...
Does your box have roaches in it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Why would it work?
There was a story in the Sun Times.
The news story, they called it bugs. I thought it was electronic bugs.
Oh,
I thought it
my
was real
God.
bugs.
No.
Well, my box...
roaches that are in the box.
Taking a right turn for just a second, here in Chicago, there was a story in the Sun Times this week about how Comcast has this warehouse where they store all their electronic equipment, and it's infested with roaches. And so if you ordered Comcast, you got a cable box that not only brought you some of the finest programming on the face of the earth, but also brought you the joy of cockroaches.
Luckily, I had...
Because the boxes were infested with eggs.
My cable box is a couple years old, so this one is safe. So now I know not to upgrade.
But anyway, Fuel TV,
Which is part of the big, huge, massive Fox conglomerate.
Yes.
They will basically become the UFC station starting in January. 25% of their programming will be all UFC related. All the prelim fights. I mean, tonight there's the Ultimate Fighter live event, which is happening in Vegas right now. Those prelim fights used to be shown on Facebook. In fact, they're on Facebook right now, starting next year, only on Fuel TV.
Okay.
They'll also have weigh-in specials. They'll have the Countdown and Primetime shows. They'll have old fights and a whole bunch of other specialty programming. But as Spike TV wrapped its arms around the WWE when the WWE showed up, because remember Spike TV used to be TNN, the Nashville Network.
the Nashville Network.
Right, which basically involved nothing.
And
but
before
kids.
that, they had TNA.
And before they had TNA, Spike TV...
Which they shit canned to get the WWE,
Right.
which then left, and then
Right.
they went to
so they went back to
UFC.
UFC. So, but yeah, Fuel TV will become your station to watch if you want to see all the stuff. And a lot of cable systems, because I think only 6 million systems carry that. Comcast's going to start carrying the sucker in January, I'm willing to bet, because that's when the big deal starts, and that's a big deal programming. And people will be calling going, "We want to watch this damn show," because basically it's just people with cars and stuff running around.
Okay, and our last story involves Fox and the United Center, and January the 28th.
January the 28th, Fox, UFC on Fox number 2 takes place here at the United Center. Chicago. 2-hour show, 4 fights. The main event is Rashad Evans versus Phil Davis. We also might see Chael Sonnen fight Mark Munoz. You know Chael Sonnen. We talk about him all the time. The guy who wants to throw people out and cussed out Anderson Silva. But yeah, it's going to be actually this Wednesday. Dana White and all the fighters in the card are going to be here for a big, huge press conference at the United Center.
Didn't Blagojevich make a law that no fighting in Chicago?
That law, no, actually, UFC and Mark Ratner, who works for UFC, they talked to the people in Illinois. And Illinois doesn't have a problem with MMA fights anymore. That's why you were able to do fights at the Sears Center. A whole bunch of people do fights over there. And the first UFC fight was over at the Allstate, which is a dump, really. Well, it's not. If you've ever been there,
But neither of those arenas are in Chicago.
Well,
It's Rosemont.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
Rosemont.
Rosemont. It's in Rosemont. But yeah, but I mean, the Allstate Arena was not very comfortable. We saw a show there.
United Center is not that comfortable either, but no, Allstate is worse, but no,
Right.
United Center is
Right,
not.
United Center, big, huge screen. It's in the city.
Oh,
People
yeah.
will easily get to it. They're expecting to sell the place out, whatever tickets come
I
on sale.
imagine they will.
If you ever watch WWE and they talk about how they're coming to you from Chicago at the Allstate Arena, it's in
Rosemont's,
Rosemont.
yeah, Rosemont's
It's
not in Chicago.
It's a suburb.
It's a suburb.
It's a suburb.
It's not even a suburb. It's next to the airport.
Yeah, it's next to the airport, which is Chicago.
Right, which is
Chicago.
Chicago.
O'Hare Airport is Chicago.
Right.
It's surrounded by
Right.
suburbs.
Surrounded by suburbs.
Yeah, Yeah, one of them was Bensonville, which I guess doesn't exist anymore.
No, there's more airport.
Yeah.
But that's local news, and we're done. We're finished around here. We've got no more Brawlin news. But you can go to the store's website, check out all the Brawlin news this man sends me that I post up. And Bo,
Yes.
you stop doing that. Where's the store's website?
It's that hat.
Sarah knows where all this stuff is because she can pack a mean punch.
She's the queen of meat.
Yeah, I know where it is. That I know.
So go to the store's website, check out all this man's Brawlin news. Until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
This is Bo.
Nice hat, by the way.
I will be at that show in the United Center, boys and girls. I will be there.
Bye!
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.